Welcome to the From My Stand podcast with Heather Hinkle. Whether you are an avid hunter, a novice, or someone interested in the sport, Matt has a unique perspective to share. Sit back, relax, and kick your boots up as Matt shares what he's seeing from his stand.
Hi friends, thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Heather Hinkle, and welcome to my kitchen.
Hang on a second, that's my line. Hi friends, thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Matt Hinkle, and welcome to our kitchen.
Sure, babe.
Okay. Well, hey, if you've been following the podcast, you know that the last 3 episodes have been all business. They were kind of serious episodes. I kind of felt like I was lecturing while we did over 100 minutes of instruction on postseason scouting. Now, if you're somebody that wants to learn a little bit more about postseason scouting, I urge you to check out the last 3 episodes because they are pretty informative. There's some out in the field footage. And so I'm really happy with those episodes. But I thought today we need to mix it up, have a little bit of fun, do something a little bit different. One benefit to being involved in the outdoors is that the whole family can do it. 2 of my kids, now I'm working on my 3rd one, and she's even starting to show signs that she might hunt with me. But 2 of my kids hunt with me. And Olivia, she doesn't hunt yet, but she still participates in her own way. And my wife, Heather, has hunted with me one time. She went on a weekend dove hunt with me one time, but she's very supportive, makes all this possible. And I'm so glad that she's on the show with us today. This is her first time. This is her debut on the podcast. And so I'm really happy to have her on here with us. But the outdoors can be a family thing that everybody can take part in. And it's really good. Now we're a normal family. You know, we don't totally live off the land. We go to Walmart, we go to restaurants just like everybody else, and get, you know, we do eat normal grocery food. But hunting and fishing has through the years been a pretty stable part of our diet. And I want to give you some recommendations. If you're really into the outdoors and you're going to be a deer hunter and a turkey hunter and all that, I would encourage you to get your hands on some good cookbooks for the outdoors. I recommend Steve Rinella's stuff. He's got out the MeatEater Fish and Game cookbook. This is kind of my main one that I really think is a good one. Also, he did the outdoor cookbook. This is all about cooking outdoors, grilling, smoking, even cooking straight over fire. So that's a really good one. This James Fraioli is a really good one, Cooking Wild Game. And this one's been really good. I've used a lot of stuff out of this. And then back to Steve Rinella. He's got 2 books. Volume 1 is Big Game, but it's hunting, butchering, and cooking wild game. We've gotten into the processing thing ourselves here at the house. Several years ago, when every deer I'd shoot, I'd take them to a processor somewhere in town. We've started doing that ourselves. This is a really helpful book. It kind of gives you step-by-step. It's color, well illustrated, and it'll show you step-by-step how to field dress wild game and butcher it. And then volume 2 is on small game. So these have been really helpful. I highly recommend them. But what we're going to be working with today is a deer that my son shot. He shot this buck in the last hunting season, and we've already ate a good bit of that deer, but we're still working on it. What we're going to be doing in today's episode is a neck roast, okay? That deer had a neck that was probably about this big. And, you know, the neck bone runs through it. All we did with that, and we weren't doing the podcast back then, so I didn't get any footage. Next time we process a deer, we're going to have some footage to show you how to do it. But all we did, it was right here on the island in the kitchen. We had the deer neck laid out, and I just took a saw and cut it into 3 pieces. And this is one of those thirds. This is a neck roast. It's about 4 pounds, and there is a bone that runs right through it. So Heather, why don't you tell us what step 1 is going to be on this? What do we do first?
Well, step 1 is defrost. So go get it out of the freezer and let it defrost.
Well, that's what we're going to do today. Tomorrow, we're going to be preparing this with potatoes, onions, carrots, celery, putting it in a crock pot. And if you do it right, it'll fall right off the bone. You'll love it. So we'll see you when it's defrosted.
All right. Well, the neck roast is defrosted. So Babe, why don't you tell us what we're going to do next?
All right. Well, this is a pretty simple neck roast recipe. I'll get that out in just a second. First thing we want to do, we've already washed our hands, so we're ready to get busy. And the first thing we need to do is get all of our ingredients out. So you can kind of see that we've already done that. We've got the roast, and it's going to be real simple. We got carrots, we got celery, white onion, and potato. What are those little potatoes called? The little tiny red ones.
Red potatoes.
Yeah. Normally I use those, but we had these. We already had these, and we need to use them up. So we're just going to cut these up smaller for the roast. So I'm going to cut over here. You cut over there. Let me wash the celery first.
I will let you.
All right. So, and another important thing, I can't work without coffee, so need to make some coffee.
I can.
All right, there you go. You can get going on that, and I'm going to get going on the onion. Don't cut yourself. This thing may not be. All right. So this is a recipe that we have done for many years. Several years ago, I shot a deer, and I don't really know what was different about it, but we made a roast, and it tasted real. Sometimes you hear people say that deer meat tastes gamey and wild, and I had one turn out like that one time. And to be honest with you, I think a lot of times it depends on several different factors. Number one, if you want your wild game to taste good, first of all, make a good shot. Make a good shot. That goes a long way in making sure they taste good. Number two, recover them quickly, especially the warmer it is, and do some of those big. We want some like in stalks. But the longer it sits, especially in warmer weather, the worse it's going to taste. And then it really does matter how it's processed. And I think there was something going on with one of those steps with that deer. But a guy that I worked with told me how to cure that. He said, if you got wild game that tastes gamey and wild, he said to use celery salt. So we're going to be doing that today with this roast. All right. Now, I told you earlier in this episode that the outdoors is something that the whole family can get involved in. And Heather, you don't really hunt with me. But you don't mind that I do.
I don't. As long as you don't mind, I go shopping and
yeah.
all
Well,
that kind of stuff.
I'm not going to micromanage that. You've always been good about this. But the outdoors is something that everybody can participate in. And this is one way you can get everybody involved in the kitchen. This deer was actually processed right here at this kitchen island by me and my son. And we've already ate a lot of that deer. But as you can see, there's still some to go. So.
And I let Matthew cut the onions because he can't smell.
No.
And
he cannot smell.
I'll let him tear up with that.
I'm not going to tear up. Okay. So, you know what? I'm not going to do all three of those potatoes. I'm going to do one more.
How many more of these do you want?
That's probably pretty good. Whatever you think.
Let's do one more.
All right. Sounds good.
I don't know if this is right, but
one of these days we're going to do an episode. Heather wants to do an episode called Hunting Wives, and kind of start like a support group for the wives of hunters. So maybe we'll do that.
And we'll save
one of these days
these leftovers for the chickens and the duck and the pigs.
Yeah, one of these days we're going to have to introduce you to all of our pets. We got 2 dogs, a cat,
2 pigs.
2 pigs, a bunch of chickens, a bunch of ducks, and 3 horses. So one of these days we will introduce you to that. Okay, let me get this neck roast out of the packaging. We've got we use the Cabela's vacuum sealer. and does a good job. And that's what we got this packaged in. Let me get it out of here. And we will wash it. It's important when you are cooking to have a clean surface, clean hands, clean utensils, all that good stuff.
Some of them are small, but
Oh, that's okay. That'll be
I think
good.
I did a pretty good job. I'm no Betty Crocker or Martha Stewart, but
You did great, I'm sure. All right, Matt, why don't you come in and show them the neck roast. This is just like a whole neck roast, and it is bone in. That is just the neck bone right there. All right, so a guy I used to work with gave me this little tip. He said when you're dealing with wild game, use celery salt. Yeah, you care to open that? I started doing that, and it's been a game changer. It does a really good job, so I just put a good coating of it on the roast. And that should turn out really good. I guess you don't want to be, you'll find out about me if you stick with this channel that I don't do a lot of measuring. I kind of eyeball stuff. So for better or for worse. All right. So let's put everything in there with our roast.
we got the carrots.
Honey, I'll let you do that. My beautiful assistant. Move it over here where it's a little bit closer.
We got the celery.
All right. You want me to do the onion?
Yeah.
Put some onion in there. Potatoes. And I put a little bit of butter in. Usually helps make it a little bit good. And I'm going to put just a little bit more celery salt on everything. And I'm going to put a little bit of pepper. Pepper everything down. And then all we're going to do is fill this thing up about halfway with water. Put it in the crock pot on medium for about 6 hours, you think? Mm-hmm. And after that, it should be falling off the bone. We'll show you how it turned out and when it's all done. Am I forgetting anything?
Yeah.
What?
You have to do the dishes tonight.
All right, that's fine. I can do that. All right, we'll show you how it turned out when it's all done. All right, this has been cooking on low for about 6 hours. So it's not really quite dinner time yet, so I'm just going to kind of let it keep going on low. But I cannot smell. I haven't been able to smell since 2010. I lost my sense of smell. But I bet you this smells pretty good. So we'll see. We'll kind of show you what it looks like we'll show you what the roast looks like when we get it out. All right. Well, the roast has cooked all day on low, and this is what we're left with. You don't have to do much with it. We put a little bit of salt and pepper on it. As you can see, those deer neck roasts, they're really tender. Just kind of falls apart with a fork. And I'll put a little bit of butter on there. And I like a little A1 or soy sauce. But what do you think?
I think it smells really good.
Yeah, I don't know how it smells because I haven't been able to smell since 2010. But it looks really good. Let's try it. Oh, yeah.
Let me try.
Just right. You going to try it? It took a while to get Heather onto wild game. And the first thing that she really liked on wild game was elk burgers. Mm-hmm. And she does really like elk burgers. And I think deer burgers. The elk burger's better. But I mean, this is just like a roast from the grocery store,
It's
is it
good.
not? Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
honestly, and again, we'll do other episodes in the future on cooking wild game, but just the basics are make a good shot and then recover the deer or whatever the game that you're after, recover them quickly. That's even more important the warmer it is. And then you got to handle the deer right. Field dressing is really important. And then processing. The next time we process one here at the house, we'll probably do like a instructional video for the channel about that. But you know, if you make a good shot, recover them quickly, handle them right, and then just, you know, use decent cooking methods and sound recipes and stuff, you're going to be pretty happy. And I mean, a deer head on the wall is really cool. You can admire it for years and even generations, but nothing beats what you get on the table. So it's really good. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. Been a little change of pace. Tried to have a little bit of fun. Thank you, Heather, for being
Thank
on
you.
here. We'll get her on the podcast again sometime in the future. It's been fun doing an episode with her. So why don't you take us away and sign us off?
All right.
Is this how we see it from your stand? So go ahead and sign us off.
This is how I see it from
No,
your.
you got to say, I'm Heather Hinkle.
Oh, I'm Heather Hinkle.
And this is how I see it.
And this is how I see it from Matt's
My
stand.
stand. No, it's your stand, not mine. All right.
Well, last thing, I got to kiss the cook. Mwah.
All right. That's how we see it from our stand.
Thank you for listening today. Be sure to tell your buddies and follow us on your favorite podcasting platforms. Y'all take care.